Hello everyone, this is Gunjan and let us continue our revision session. So previously we had discussed the fourth chapter, metals and metals, and today we will be revising the fifth chapter, coal and petroleum. So what are coal and what are petroleum? What are different resources available in nature? So based on the resources which are available in nature, we can categorize them into two different parts. Inexhaustible resources and the other we can say exhaustible resources. What are inexhaustible resources? The resources which are available in nature that can never get exhausted or that can never get finished are called inexhaustible resources. मतलब कि ऐसा रिसोर्स कि जो कभी खत्म नहीं हो सकते, डेफिनेटली खत्म होंगे बट दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू एंड एनी टाइम नियर. जब तक हम जिंदा है या हमारे आने वाली जनरेशन जिंदा है, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट एंड. Examples. So examples, the sun, the solar energy is one of our example. Our sun is not going to die anytime soon. It will take almost lakhs of years for our sun to get into its death time. So solar energy जो अपने पास है वो कभी खत्म नहीं होने वाली है. Another resource is wind energy. Wherever there is a difference of heat and cold, or there is a temperature change, wind is going to flow. So wind energy is another such example of inexhaustible resources. Then what are exhaustible resources? The resources which will end within some limited time of years are called exhaustible resources. Just you might have all known the coal that we use for heating, the petrol that we fill in our motorcycles and cars, the natural gas. These days some cars have CNG gas, or अपने cooking के लिए what we use is LPG gas. So all these resources are limited. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि वो एक दो दिन में खत्म हो जाएंगे, but it will get exhausted in almost 100 years. So such type of resources are called exhaustible resources. We'll look at all these resources in a bit detail. So let us now talk about the first exhaustible resource, coal. Coal is nothing but, in our usual terms, we say colso. A figure here represents an image of coal. So it's a black color substance. Now the story behind coal is, initially it was used to cook food in our household. जब अपने पास natural gas available नहीं था, LPG available नहीं था, what we used to do is our mothers used to have a group of coal pieces. There was a piece called sagdi. उसके अंदर हम coal भरते थे. We would light them and we would burn it. The benefit of coal is it burns easily with the air, oxygen, and it creates a gas called carbon dioxide, which is a cause of air pollution. But we'll look at this in a moment. So the story behind coal is how the coal was formed. In the Earth's layer, there was pressure and high temperature for billions of years. There were several plants and there were several animals which were dead that got decomposed within the Earth's layer. ऐसा usually होता है, right? जो normal animals or plants जो मर जाते हैं, they get decomposed into our soil because of certain bacteria. As and when they get decomposed, the nutrients from these bodies are released to the atmosphere or the earth, और वो नीचे 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 earth के layer में नीचे नीचे जाते रहते हैं. They go below the earth's surface till that extent where nothing is left but only some carbon is left into the dead plants or animals. ये carbon जो रहता है, this is going through immense pressure and immense temperature. As we all know कि अर्थ का क्रस्ट है, उसके अंदर अभी भी there is lava, there is high temperature, there is high pressure. So because of this carbon gets converted into something called coal. So coal और कुछ भी नहीं है, but क्या है? It's simply a carbon piece. Now there are two important terms for us to learn here. The term is called carbonization and we have another called fossil fuel. What is carbonization? Now this activity of creating coal from the dead plants and dead animals takes lots of years, right? We discussed that it took around millions of years to get our body decomposed into carbon. Then with the help of immense pressure and temperature, the carbon was got converted into coal. This process is a very slow process, and this process is called nothing but carbonization. Also, we can say that basically the coal was made from either the dead animals or dead plants. So they are considered as the fossils, and hence coal is called a fossil fuel. A sample image of a coal mine is shown here. આપણે કહીએ ને કે ભાઈ કોલસાની ખાણ છે. So this is nothing but one such mine of coal, where the workers work here and extract the coal from these mines. Now the coal which we get through this may not be pure, so we have to process it in factories, add certain chemicals to get a more clearer version of coal. So one such product is called coke. ये अपना पीने वाला coke नहीं है, right? This is one such product which we observe after processing the coal in an industry. What are the uses of coke? Well, the thing is, coke is pretty much tough. It has certain pores in it. So what are pores? Pores are nothing but एक piece में when you have lot of holes which allows the entry of air is called a porous substance. So coke is tough, it is porous, and again, since coal is black, definitely coke has to be black. Mainly coke is used for preparation of steel, and it also helps in preparation of some other metals in industries. We have another substance called coal tar, which is a liquid based substance. The coal is heated and we get a petroleum kind of substance with coal tar. It is a very annoying smell, बहुत ही गंदी smell आती है इससे. But again, this is used in preparation of various daily objects. For example, if you say perfume, at the entry point of perfume, somewhere coal tar is used. It is also used in certain other metals, dyes, drugs, and one such another example, if you might be using naphthalene balls in your empty rooms or toilets to avoid certain bacteria or fungi. These are also created from coal tar. In case you are wondering what naphthalene balls are, it is nothing but in our normal language we call them damarni gori. Right? We observe these white balls which we keep in our toilets or in an empty room to avoid certain bacterial or certain microorganisms. So these are nothing but naphthalene balls, and they are also made from coal tar. Another product of coal is a coal gas. Now actually coal gas is a product that we get when we try to prepare coke. And where is the coal gas used? It is used as a fuels in certain industries. Some of the industries use it for heating purpose. Some were used for lights, street lights. So based on the requirement, we can use coal gas accordingly. Now let us discuss another exhaustive resource, petroleum. So what is petroleum? So we use petrol in our scooters or certain cars. Certain heavy vehicles like trucks or buses use diesel. So both of these petrol and diesel are part of a product called petroleum. How the petroleum was formed? The story is almost similar to that of coal. So what happens is there are dead animals again in a sea or oceans. So these living creatures in a sea or ocean, when they die, they settle at the bottom of the sea. So over millions of years, again, these dead animals of sea or oceans get decomposed. They again stay there without air or without oxygen from air. They have immense pressure and temperature at the bottom of the seabed, and then they get decomposed into certain oils. This is called petroleum. So this is an image of petroleum and natural gas. So as you can see that there was actually a reservoir rock जहाँ पे the dead animals from sea get stuck there. They stays there for millions of years. There is immense pressure. Again, it's within the earth crust. आपको ऐसा लगता होगा कि भाई ये तो दरिया है, समंदर है, वहाँ पे तो पानी होता है, तो टेम्परेचर क्यों होता है? But what happens is below the sea bed, जब भी आप कोई ओशन में जाते हो, there will be a certain point till which you can go below in the sea, like 100 meters or 500 meters, maybe a kilometer or so. Then finally there is a layer of soil within it. Uske bhi niche, when these dead animals die, they get stuck there, they stay there without air, and they have immense pressure and temperature, and they get decomposed into petroleum. So once these petroleum oils are formed, they start to come up in the ocean. Why does this happen? Because water and petrol, they never mix with each other, right? You might have observed that जब हम कुछ खाना खाते हैं, we have some oily substance, and if you try to add water, the oil will float on the water because the density of oil is a bit less as compared to water. So similar thing happens here. That's the reason why petrol never gets mixed with the water, and we can easily obtain it. But the petroleum that we find in this way is not pure. So we have to refine this petroleum product, and this is what we call the refining process of petroleum product. So this refining of petroleum is done in certain refineries. There are 6 to 7 stages in which a petrol is refined, which is not a part of our syllabus, so we will not be discussing that, but we'll see the products that we get after the refining of petrol. So as you can see in this table, we have certain products of petroleum, and we have certain uses for each product. So let's have a look of all these products. So we have petroleum gas, which is in liquid form, and we call it LPG. જે આપણા ઘરે પેલું રેડ સિલિન્ડર હોય જેમાંથી which is used for cooking is nothing but LPG. Liquefied petroleum gas is the full form of LPG. What are the uses? The fuel is used for home and industry. As we know, we use it for home. This gas is also used in certain industries. Another product that we get during the refinery is petrol. So as we all know, petrol कहाँ पे use होता है? We use it in our motorcycles, we use it in our bikes. If you guys are not knowing, it is also used as a fuel in aviation industry. मतलब कि मेरा कोई air flight होता है तो उसमें भी I use petrol. It is used solvent for dry cleaning. जो हम बोलते हैं ना कि यार ये मेरा बहुत एक्सपेंसिव शर्ट है, एक्सपेंसिव ड्रेस है मेरा, I cannot wash it, I have to dry clean it. So what is dry cleaning? Dry cleaning कुछ dry नहीं है, but it's just that because water is not used in it, we call it dry cleaning. So one of the solvent used for dry cleaning is again petrol. Another example is kerosene. So again ये homely use होता है. Certain aircrafts or jet planes में they have distilled kerosene. So that is one of the use of kerosene. Diesel, as we all know, it is used for heavy vehicles like trucks and motors. कोई generators होता है when there is no electricity. We use generators to create electricity. We have another product called lubricating oil. As the name suggests, it is used for lubrication. An example would be when we have a fan or our gates. So what you might have observed is as the time passes, there are some noises coming from our gates, right? So what we do, we lubricate them. So we put certain kind of oils, lubricating oils, so it will work as a grease, and it will reduce the tension. So that is one of the advantage of lubricating oil. We have paraffin wax as another product. They are used in creation of candles or vaselines. And we have another product called bitumen. So हम बाहर जाते हैं, we might have observed that there are certain places where the road is constructed. So bitumen is one of the ingredients for creating a surface of road. we say damer. So it is. So let us look at another exhaustible resource, natural gas. It is again very important fossil fuel, and the benefit of natural gas is that it is very easy to transport from one place to another. As it is a gas, we can create certain pipelines, और जैसा कि अपने country में बहुत सारी जगह पे है, there are certain areas which have natural gas pipeline and they are avoiding the usage of LPG. So जो घर में previously we had cylinders. So what was the problem of cylinders is we had to carry that heavy cylinders and we had to replace them each time. What it has been changed to is we have a gas pipeline, that is a CNG gas pipeline. So it can reach easily to our home. और वो कैसे बनता है? So the gas is compressed with high pressure and it is kept at one place, and at our home when we turn on the burner, the gas will starting to flow. So this is the way compressed natural gas or CNG is used, and again it is used at various places for power generation. There are certain factories or certain elements where it is used as a starting fuel. So the advantage again is it is easily available. It can be applied to home or factories using pipelines. As you can see that the networks is very much wide in Gujarat, at places like Vadodara. Again in Delhi it is widely used, and actually in our country there are lots of places where CNG is available, and it becomes an cheaper fuel as compared to the other fuels. So those areas where CNG is available are like Tripura, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, the Krishna Godavari Delta, which is in south. So these are the places where CNG is easily available. So these were the natural resources we discussed, and if you remember during the starting of this session we had said that exhaustible resources का मतलब ये नहीं कि भी ये कल ही खत्म हो जाएंगे, but we can say that maybe in a duration of 100 years these exhaustible resources like coal, petroleum, natural gas will get exhausted. Again, with the exhausting of these resources is not the only concern. We have another concern. What happens is when you try to burn a coal or petroleum or natural gas, it produces gases like carbon dioxide. This is again responsible for global warming. So it creates air pollution, it creates global warming, and these resources are exhaustive. So ये थोड़े maybe 100 years में ये सारे resources खत्म हो जाएंगे. So government of India and maybe all over the world says that try to use inexhaustible resources. Try to use solar powers, try to use solar cell, try to use wind energy, water energy. इससे क्या होगा? They do not create any kind of pollution. So that is the biggest advantage at this point. अपनी earth पे there are a lot of pollutions. So in using inexhaustible resources, we can reduce the pollution. Plus they are free. They have cheaper rates as compared to the exhaustible resources. Right? Petrol का भाव कितना है? Almost 80 rupees a liter. But is there any charge for sun energy? No, it's completely free. It's completely available to everyone. So the inexhaustible resources are cheaper as compared to exhaustible resources, and it will not pollute the environment around us. We'll be safe from the global warming. But still there are certain places where we have not implemented the use of inexhaustible resources. जैसे कि when we are driving our cars to move from one place to another, the aeroplanes uses kerosene, the jets use kerosene. So these are places where we have not yet implemented the use of solar energy. So we have certain guidelines which if you are driving your car or a motorcycle, we should keep in our mind so that we reduce the consumption of petrol so that it will be available to our children in future. So these tips available are: we should drive at a constant speed and we should not drive very high speed, because driving at high speed not only increases our chances of accident, but it also increases the petrol consumption. आप ऐसे full speed पे जाते हो तो आपका पेट्रोल ज़्यादा खर्च होगा, but if you are going at a normal constant speed, the amount of petrol would be moderate. Another tip is switch off your engine at traffic lights. अपने city में तो ऐसे कोई traffic lights है नहीं, but the cities where there are traffic lights like Ahmedabad, Mumbai, so they advise them to switch off the engine because there might be a duration of maybe a minute or 2 minutes at certain traffic signals. So instead of keeping the engine open and it will consume the petrol, it is advised to turn off the engine. Another such tip is ensure that the tire pressures are correct. हम जो अपने wheels में हवा डलवाते हैं, so we should keep checking the amount of air pressure in our tires regularly, because if the tire pressure is less, we have to invest more energy or we have to burn more petrol to move from one place to another. And the last tip is to maintain our health of the vehicles regularly. हमें regularly service करानी चाहिए. We should keep the functions oiled properly or greased properly so that it does not use excess amount of petrols. So these were certain tips provided by the Petrol Conservation Research Association of our country. So that's it about the chapter. Let us see some important keywords that we have covered. So one such keyword is coal. We know coal is a type of exhaustive resource. Coal gas, coal जब available होता है, so we used to process it and we get certain products. So one such product is coal gas. Again, coal gas directly हम नहीं मिलता, but it gets as a byproduct of in the production of coke. So what is coke? It is the purest, one of the purest form of coal. Coal tar is another such process. Or we can say is another such product during the process of refining coal. Fossil fuels, the fuels that are derived from the dead plants or animals are called fossil fuels. So coal is an example of fossil fuel. Even petroleum or natural gas is an example of fossil fuel. Natural gas is another example of exhaustible resources. Petroleum is again an example of exhaustible resources. What is petroleum refinery? So petroleum which is available from the seabeds is not pure. So what we have to do is we have to process it. We have to refine the petrol products. So this process is called petroleum refinery. So that's all about this chapter. And I think we have completed the chapters that were covered so far for our syllabus. So during the next videos, we'll be starting with the new chapter, which is still not covered. I mean, few portion of this chapter is covered, the 6th chapter. I think it's completed till the point 6.2. So we'll be continuing the points after the 6.2 portion.